Hello and welcome back to my channel. I recently did a giveaway on my Instagram, and in the comments you let me know what other videos you would like to see. And the winner wrote me that she would love to see a tutorial for some long peyote earrings. So I gave it some thought and make these earrings. I hope I've met the brief at least a little bit. So today I'm going to show you how you can make them too. I will certainly follow up on the other suggestions you have written to me. I have written down all the suggestions and will draw from them as I go along. Now Christmas is coming up, so I will probably focus on some Christmas decorations. I think I will start on some crocheted balls for the Christmas tree. I will be glad if you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for new videos. Also feel free to check my Instagram, where you can find a lot of content you won't find here on YouTube. So as usual, I will start with what we need. If you have prepared a bead mat, the beads will be easier to pick up from the bead mat and won't roll anywhere. And the most important thing, seed beads. I have a pattern of 4 colors ready for you. Actually, it's 2 patterns. Sew this part and this part separately and then sew them together. I originally planned to sew just this bigger part, but I ended up thinking it wasn't quite right yet, so I added this smaller triangle. An ear stud is hidden inside. I don't know how you do it, but I almost always do it that way. I have some idea of what I'm going to make, and I change the design at least 3 times during the process before I'm completely satisfied. Let me know in the comments down below if you do it too. If you want to download patterns, you can find links in the description of the video down below. One pattern is only with colors and the other pattern is also with numbers, so that you know in which order the beads are sewn. If anyone has a problem with getting lost in the patterns, I recommend printing out the pattern and checking off the beads you've already sewn. In that case, perhaps it's not even possible to make a mistake. All these seed beads are Toho treasure. Of course, you can use any other beads you like, but I like to use cylindrical beads for projects like this, because they sit nicely to each other. There are no gaps between them like with round beads. They are just so easy to work with. Cylindrical beads are not only made by Toho, but also by Mayuki, which I really like too. If you are interested in the exact names of bead colors I have here, you can see them written here now. I'll put the links in the video description, of course, as always. You can always find all the products I use in the videos there. As for the other beads, I use dagger beads. They are 16 mm long, 3 mm fire polished beads, and mini duo. And as I said, I used ear stud with ear nut. Both are made of stainless steel. Next we need some thread. I'm going to use Fireline size 0.12 mm in a smoke color. I definitely recommend using Fireline for this project, as it's nice to shape and the beadwork is nice to look at and holds its shape. Beading needle, this is John James size 12. Scissors, cutter, depends on what do you prefer. Okay, let's get started. At first glance, the earrings look simple. It's just the peyote stitch, but a lot of people don't know how to actually get started, how to make the cut there, even though they've had some experience with peyote stitch. I think if I show you the first 2 rows, then you'll be clear. So first I pick up my stub bead. You can use any bead you want, it just serves to keep my beads from slipping off the thread. I use a 3 mm fire polished, but as I said, it doesn't matter. And leave a tail a little longer than you usually do. So we are gonna make this bigger part first. So we pick up our first 14 beads. You will see exactly what those 14 beads are in the top left here, in this pattern. By the way, these patterns are very much appreciated in the comments, so I'll just try to always add them to the videos if they make sense there. And now we start to sew the peyote stitch. Pick up 1 bead, skip the very next bead and go through the next bead. So 2 more beads in the same way. So I pick up 1 bead, skip the very next bead and go through the next. And again the same, pick up 1 bead, skip the very next bead and go through the next. Now watch out, there's gonna be a change. We will not pick up any beads, but simply skip 2 beads and go with our needle through this next bead, the 3rd bead. That's how we are gonna create this tip here. And now we continue with the peyote stitch. We will sew 2 beads. The first and the second. And there's going to be a change again. We need to sew 1 more bead, but as you can see, we don't have another bead to go with our needle through. We need to make a turn. So we pick up 1 bead, go back through these 3 beads, now go back through these 3 beads on diagonal, these 2 and this 1, and finally go through the last bead we just added. I'm going to turn the beadwork so that's easy to work with. And now we continue with a very simple peyote stitch. So 3 more beads, 1, 2, 3. Each bead to each gap. If you get lost in the pattern, you can see which bead I'm sewing right now in the pattern above. Now we need to add 2 beads up here, and as you can see we are in a different color here, so I'm gonna pick up these 2 gold beads. And I'm gonna go down this next bead with my needle here. Sit the beads in place. And as you have probably guessed for a while now, we are still gonna continue in exactly the same way. You can see that we have 3 gaps here, 1, 2, 3, so sew 1 bead in each gap again. I'm going to turn a beadwork so that's easier to work with. Now that we look at it, it's quite simple and intuitive. We sew 1 bead in each gap, we sew 2 at a time up here, and we sew 1 bead in each gap here. At the end, we are not going to have a bead to put the needle in, so we are going to do a turn again. And to keep the color pattern, here we sew 3 gray beads, one gold, 2 black, one gold, and 3 gray. 1, 2. In this case, I'm gonna take a slightly different turn. There are several ways to do it. I made a video about it, so you can watch it if you want. You can see the link up here. I'm not going to pick up a new bead, but I'm gonna go with my needle through this last bead. Then I'll pick up one bead, go through these 2 beads on diagonal, and then go through these 3 beads on diagonal, and back through the new bead. I turn the beadwork and I can continue with peyote stitch. Still the same. Step before the start of the last row, we'll have a slight change there again. So we are left with one last row to go. Here we are not going to add another bead to the corner according to the pattern, but we need to get back so we can add a cream bead straight on. So let's sew according to the arrow. Go through the very next gold bead, back up through the gold bead, and now we can add a cream bead number 169. And we will continue to the end of the last row. Now we can weave the tail in. Go through the beads back and forth. If you want, make some knots. I like to make some circles to be more secure. And cut the thread. Now I slide my stub bead, put this tail on the thread, pick up one 3mm fire polished bead, one dagger bead, and one 3mm fire polished bead, and go up through these 3 beads. Then pick up another 3mm fire polished bead and go through this popped up bead on the opposite side. And I reinforce the connection once more, so I go through the beads again. And then I weave the thread in. If you want, make some knots. If you don't want to make knots, just go through the beads, change direction several times and make some circles. That's quite enough, it will hold. Now let's sew this little triangle. Cut a piece of fire line and follow the pattern with me. First we pick up 3 black beads. 1, 2, and 3. I slide them down. And go with our needle through the beads again to make a circle. Just like this. Okay, I connect it to a circle. I go through the beads once more. Okay. I don't like to make a knot because it would block one of my bead holes. So I just make a circle like this. We pick up 2 black beads and go through the very next bead. Another 2 black beads. Go through the very next bead. Don't get lost in the pattern. Another 2 black beads. And we are at the end of the second row, so we need to step up. This means that we go through these 2 beads to get to another row. These are 3 beads of the first row, and this is the second row. Again, another 2 black beads. I pick 2 black beads and go through the very next bead. And finally we add a gold bead. So we do a normal peyote stitch. That means that we skip the bead, skip this bead and go through this popped up bead. And again 2 black beads. I call it a central spine. And another gold bead. We'll continue in the same way. Here in the corners we'll always increase by 2 beads. We'll be done when we have 5 beads going to each corner. Now we have 1, 2, 3. Here we have 2, 1, 2. So another 2 black beads. One gold, and we need to step up again to another row, so we go through these 2 beads. We need to step up. Again 2 in the corner and 1 gold into each gap. The first and the second, it's normal peyote stitch, and 2 beads to the corner, and a gold bead to each gap, and 2, and again the same. You can see that the triangle is starting to form. It's not that mess anymore. Step up again. One, 2, 3, 4, and 1 last row. 2 beads in the corner. And 1 gold bead to each gap. 1, 2, and 3. One triangle is finished and we can weave both tails in. Sew the other triangle in the same way. We need 2 of these triangles and then we will sew them together. So now we have a second triangle. Here I weaved only one tail and the other one is free. I will start zigzagging them together. Again, I have a pattern for you to illustrate how to do this. Pick up one black bead and go through the black corner bead of the other triangle. Pick up one gold bead and go through the next bead on diagonal. Don't worry that the beads are tilted to one side. We will restitch the entire joint and flatten the beads. So pick up another gold bead and go through the next popped up bead on diagonal on the other side. Another gold bead and to the opposite side. Last gold bead and through the black bead of the opposite triangle and black corner bead. Now we take a near stud and put it to the center of one triangle. And continue sewing. Pick up gold bead and zigzag it like this. Skip adding a black bead in this third corner and just sew through without bead. Here we are going to connect this corner to the other piece and we want it to be flat, not pointy like these two. We have added all the beads and you can see that we don't have a nice joint yet. We need to restitch all the newly added beads. We will simply sew them from the opposite side. That means that you can see that the thread runs from left to right, so we are going to sew the other way around from right to left. And we are going to zigzag the entire joint. So I go through this bead from right to left. And now from left to right. Continue exactly the same way from right to left, from left to right. This way the bead sits nicely in place. Okay, it's done and now I weave the thread in. I finish and secure the thread of every part of my piece. Because if, for example, that joint breaks, then I can just fix the joint and not have the pieces come apart. No need to cut the thread, just secure it. Now we need to get with our needle to this flat corner. So I go towards my flat corner. I pick up the mini duo and go through the black bead of the opposite part. Then go through the very next bead. and back up through the mini duo and through the black bead. I want to reinforce my connection, so I will go through one of the other pair of beads on the opposite side. Down through the mini duo, through black beads. I'm gonna go through 2 beads this time. It doesn't matter, you can go through 1, but I want to go through 2. And go back up through these 2 black seed beads, through this mini duo and this black seed bead. Go up all the way. And tighten the thread. We are done and we can weave the thread in. Put an ear knot and enjoy! Thanks for watching till the end. The tutorial was a little bit longer today, but I think these earrings are worth it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments how you like them. They will also be great in different color combinations, and it's definitely not a problem to swap the daggers for completely different beads. I think this pattern is beautifully variable. I have a lot of other tutorials in the works right now, so I will see what I finish first. I'm working on some designs that you guys write me in the comments and in messages. So I'm still thinking about you. So think of me too, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Happy beading and see you next time. Bye!